Yeah, so we've got a good one to talk about tonight. This is Codex After Dark. Ladies and gentlemen, get your cup of coffee or your hot chocolate because I know there's snow in the Great White North and it's 50
Yes, there is.
degrees in the south.
I
so
woke, I woke up to an inch of snow and then it all melted by like noon.
so sit back, relax. The whole point of breaking the code is it's one topic, no script, and Jamie and I are just going to sit here and shoot the collective excrement for the next half hour to an hour and talk about what we got to talk about tonight. Jamie, what would that be? Because that was a topic that you chose.
Oh yeah, that was off the cuff too. So
Yeah.
the topic tonight will be: is the comic book world too saturated? So is the comic book market saturated? We got nothing but shows, movies, comics, novels,
T-shirts.
action figures, obviously t-shirts. Tim is representing a hat because, well, he's got his Michigan one on that I want to cry about every time I see
This is Michigan State, sir.
it. It's
So
state. Okay, sorry. It's still in the same. It's in the state.
there's a big difference, though.
I know. I'm an Ohio State fan, so I know the big difference.
Well, we're having some technical difficulties here, ladies and
No, we are
gentlemen.
not. This is the first time we can say there's no technical difficulties
Oh
with these
my
ladies and
god.
gents. But yeah, we're going to be talking about if the comic book market is too saturated. And you know what, Tim, if you want to take this one away, what's your thoughts so far? Like, out of everything we have, are we like spoiled in this now?
Okay,
With
so
everything.
so let me go ahead and go right into that. So me and my brother were talking earlier this evening about it, this exact same thing, and
Mm-hmm.
and this is what he had to say about it. We only got to talk about it briefly, but Matt, when him and I were talking, he said, if you think about it, like with the oversaturation, it's there, but it's more there in kids stuff than it is adult stuff or collectors. So to dive into that a little bit, he's not wrong, because I mean, if you look at it with every new movie that comes out that's geared toward kids, like Spider-Man or Batman or Superman or Wonder Woman or anything like that, what happens? Lego, Hasbro, all these other companies throw all of this stuff at you and all of this stuff at your kids and things like that. And then, it turns into Christmas in July. But I think, to go back to my original thoughts, so has comics or comics in general oversaturated the market? I think the answer to that would be kind of. And I know that's not really a one way or the other. So so to think about it, now is the best time to be alive, to be a comic book fan, because 20 years ago we didn't have this stuff. We didn't have the type of movie
Exactly.
that we have now. We didn't have the type of television shows that we have now. Back when I was a kid, and Jamie, even when you were a kid, the best that we had to look forward to was X-Men, Spider-Man,
Yep.
Batman the animated series, Justice League eventually when it came out.
Yeah.
Uh,
That
you know,
started a whole new trend.
we had a very small selection of things to watch, and even going back into the 80s, comic book specific programming like Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends or Transformers or GI Joe, which the comic books helped build the world that it is in now. So I guess if you compare it like back to the 80s versus even the 90s and today, yes, there is oversaturation because it's everywhere you look. And if you think about it, back in the past, it wasn't cool to be a comic book fan. It wasn't cool to say I collect comic books, and then you would get all
Exactly. Yeah.
kinds of derogatory slang thrown at you and everything else. And that was just something that we had to deal with, and that kind of stigma still kind of sticks today, with people my age that collect comic books. I'm 42 years old. I've got premature gray in my beard and my hair,
I
and
think
I've
it's
got
premature.
it is premature, and I've got
Pretty
three
mature.
pretty mature. Right on. Wisdom is in the color of your hair, and if it's gray, you know a lot.
That's why
But
I shaved the sides.
but I've got 3,000 comic books sitting right here next to me.
Ooh,
And
look at you.
and
It
this
makes me so
and
happy when I hear that.
that's something that I'm proud of, and my kids are proud of. But it's a different world for my kids than it was for me, because them growing up, that's stuff that's just part of it, and I can even remember, like we talked about this on Wednesday
Hmm.
for the podcast, the summer of Batman 89 and Ninja Turtles in 90 or 91 when that came out. Those things were huge because those type of movies just did not exist. But then, you go with the start of the MCU with Iron Man, and then every year consecutively after that until Avengers. What happened when Avengers came out, man?
It broke everything.
The world exploded. And
It,
I
like,
can remember,
legitimately.
yeah, we're living in an alternate reality now. And I can
We're not in
remember,
a 616 anymore.
nope, not anymore. I can remember going to the theater with my ex-wife at the time and our kids, going to see Avengers, and we got there early,
Hmm.
and we managed to get in at the end of the line inside the theater. By God, the rest of the line went out, down, and around just to see the Avengers. We saw that in 3D. That was amazing. So that's where it kind of goes for the kinda for me.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like, not every show has been a hit. Not every movie has been a hit. There's been a lot of hit and miss. Inhumans being one, Agents of Shield being another.
I gotta disagree with the Agents of Shield one because it did run for like 7 seasons.
That's true. That's true. But with Agents of Shield and even Inhumans and even the Netflix stuff, now that we can talk about that, that stuff wasn't necessarily a tie-in with the major stuff that's going on. So, that I guess is where the oversaturation comes in, because you've got the main MCU stuff that you follow and you watch and you do, and now with the Disney Plus shows. But then you had like the ABC programming and stuff like that wasn't necessarily a tie-in. It wasn't necessary to pay attention to. So that right there is the oversaturation. They're starting to put things at you that you don't necessarily have to pay attention to, but you can if you want to. Now, as far as comic books and things like that go, books and video games, the video games, I think once they got it right, they've never been better. In Spider-Man and Miles Morales and even Avengers,
Oh
after
yeah,
they fixed the
all the
atrocity
bugs
that
and
was the beginning.
oh my god, dude! When I first started that game, like at the end, spoiler alert, when Cap's there and everything, Cap's face was like, so Cap's face was over here, but the rest of his body was over here, and then it was just eyes and a mouth just like chilling
And I
over
heard that
here.
there was all kinds of different phrases and things like that were just generic phrases that weren't in there. And see,
Yeah,
that's the thing with greedy fans. If you think about that, we want it now, we want it now, we want it yesterday. And
well,
that's what they gave us.
that
And
was an
we
issue
got
because of the
something
fact that it wasn't that we wanted it now, now, now. It was the fact of shoot, COVID hit. Now, do we fix everything? And it was literally they were trying to start marketing. They had this idea to do it. I don't know why, like a month before the game was going to be released,
Mhm.
and COVID had hit at the same time, and they said, "Oh no, we can't push this back. Let's put it out now." And they
Yeah,
went,
and then
"I
what they
hit the
give
red
us.
button," and then look what I did, and then they shot it off, and it was like, "Oh,
And
cool."
they
It
give
was
you a
the
broken game,
opening.
and
The opening was great most of the game, but once you got to like 75% mark, it was just like, what
it was
happened?
horrible.
Yeah, but now that it's fixed, it's like I've been playing it. I love it.
It's I've been playing it too, and I've been playing it with my son sitting there watching me, and him and I are digging the crap out of it right now. So yeah, and like with Spider-Man and things like that. But even
Mm-hmm.
back in the day, like what you did with your Do You Know, the Spider-Man Revenge of the Kingpin or
Oh yeah,
whatever it was
Spider-Man
for
versus
Sega
Kingpin.
versus Kingpin for the Sega, and then on the Game Boy you had the Spider-Man game, and then Maximum Carnage. That was the first big, I think, like comic to video game crossover that they ever did. You know what I mean? Or at least that I can remember, because you had the Maximum Carnage comic books, in Spider-Man Spectacular, adjective list Spider-Man and Web, and then they put out the video game Maximum Carnage. That blew our collective minds when I was a kid,
Right.
and we thought that was cool. But but then, like I said before, you think about it from the past, we only got to pick from the tree every now and then, but now
Yeah.
we have a wide variety to choose from. I don't
Oh,
think it's to the point of oversaturation, but I think it's starting to get a little wet. You know what I
well,
mean?
it to me, like what you alluded to, it comes to the mind of, okay, when I was growing up, when you were growing up,
Mhm.
we'll push it farther back to the Presozoic era. It we it you weren't cool if you were reading comics at the time, and you
No,
weren't like
absolutely not.
even in the 90s. It was looked even early 2000, like when Y2K hit. Um,
Yeah.
so it wasn't something that like you could wear as a badge of honor. Like you had to keep that kind of stuff to yourself unless you had a group of friends that you could talk to it about. You had
Whenever
your
you
own.
went on a date, you never said, I collect comic books.
I
Wait
do
a
that.
minute.
I do that now just to see
Well,
if they'll stick
now,
around.
but
Most of them don't. Let's put it
no.
that way. But no, they like back then you couldn't really do that. And yeah, you're right. We did have like 3 shows, which
Mhm.
was animated series for Batman, X-Men, and Spider-Man.
Yep.
And we had kind of hand movies. Like
Yeah. Yeah, a
so
handful. That's all we had.
yeah, you can count on one hand how many movies we had at that time.
Superman 1, 2, 3, and 4, Batman
Well, that's your
Returns.
era.
Very true, very true.
My era, we had nothing. Um,
You
I had Daredevil, and we don't talk about that.
had Blade, and
And we still don't talk about that.
no, Blade is the unsung hero of the Marvel universe. That's what put him on the map for movies, but that's a different conversation.
Are you okay?
I'm
No.
just fine. Daredevil. I took Matt, my brother, to see Daredevil, and
Murdoch? Oh, no.
Matt's no, my brother. I took him to see Daredevil
I'm
when
so
when he was
confused.
younger, and he loved it, and I thought it was atrocious. And
Yeah.
that movie grew on me later, but anyways, go
But
go
yeah,
on
but
with what you're
but back
saying.
to what I was saying before you try to be critic again. Um no, we had a handful of movies. We had all this. And now like looking after Iron Man re-kickstarted a whole new like fandom, and it exploded. Like I
Yeah.
mean like his nukes at the beginning of that movie, it exploded.
I don't
Um
think it was nukes though. I think it was just regular kind of smart bombs.
kind of smart bombs.
Yeah.
The ones I drop on people when they talk stuff to me.
Let me go ahead and drop a kind of
Kind of
smart
smart
bob on
bomb.
you.
Yeah. It's like kind of great bomb that I never
Yeah,
gonna
there
make.
you go.
But no, it hit this boom, and ever since then, it's like people that you would see, and they'll be like, "Dude, I just went and saw, uh, let's just go, uh, I don't know, Captain America and the Winter Soldier, which is
There you
my
go.
favorite MCU movie, by the way." And we'll say that for a different day, a different topic, because Tim probably tell me how wrong I am about it.
No, I love Winter Soldier. I think that
Okay,
solidified the MCU as
yes,
solid movies.
yes. So, like, you have someone come up and you're just like, "Dude, didn't you used to make fun of me like 6 years ago about this kind of stuff?" Like, but now it's to the point where it's like everybody has an outlet. You could be a comic fan and just like the movies. You could be a comic fan and like the comics. You can like it and have just the TV shows. And now with every streaming service that we have, every streaming service has something different.
Everything does.
And you could find your niche. Like
Mm-hmm.
there was Netflix shows which are still on. They're not taking
Mm-hmm.
them off. You have everything
No.
on HBO Max. You have everything that's on Hulu that's coming out, and still coming out. And now you got stuff on Amazon. And so every outlet you could think of, you could find a way to appreciate it in your own way.
Well, I mean, and
And
if you
now
think about it, we kind of talked about this a little bit too. It kind of looks like, and this goes into the oversaturation conversation a little bit. It kind of looks like people aren't making comics to be comics; they're making comics to be properties. You know what I mean?
yes, to an extent, there are
Okay.
still people out there that push comics for the enjoyment of comics. There's storytelling told in 2 different ways. There's storytelling based on the consumer that's picking up the book. There's storytelling based on, can this be adapted?
Right on. Okay.
So we talk about it on the show all the time. Dude, I am in love with reading Oblivion Song. I love that story. It is an underrated series. It's amazing. Netflix picked it up.
Yeah.
And it's only 36 issues in. Okay, cool. Jake Gyllenhaal is already on that project. Now you got a megastar on there.
Yeah. It's like with Keanu Reeves and Berserker.
Yes, and that got adapted, is going to be adapted too. That's only a 12 issue run. We're only on issue 8.
Right.
Drop a comment below if you guys know what issue, because I'm not going to look right now. Tell me how wrong I am, like everyone else does. So, like, that's only 12 issues. How much can you stretch out? Noctera, we just talked about this on the show.
Yeah, that's not even that far in.
7
issues. That's already, exactly. And it already got picked up by Netflix.
One more example, Undiscovered Country. Undiscovered Country is an amazing story. I don't know how they're going to adapt it right now because it's based on a virus that hit the US and everyone had to escape. So, you know, it works.
But then you get stuff like Why the Last Man, which was a critically acclaimed comic series, and it lasted less than an episode, I think.
No, it made the season.
Did it make the whole season?
It made the season. They put it on Hulu, but then Hulu didn't renew it.
That was a story begging to be told in the television medium, and it makes no sense to me.
So so there's 2 different types of writing, and now we're sitting in this world where yes, you could love the story, or B, you could hate the story because you know which way it's driven. Yeah. Some of the stories I love, you are just driven for you, and yeah, cool. They made an adaptation of it. I could sit here and nitpick all day, but I don't, because I still love the fact that I can read the comic, have a full understanding of it, and then pick out pieces throughout the whole series and be like, that didn't happen. That happened. This is going to happen now. That didn't happen now. So it's going to happen later. You know, to me, we have an oversaturation of it. And I'm going to say that. And it's not of a kind of.
So you think there's an oversaturation,
but it's a good oversaturation. It's done correctly. It's not an oversaturation of it's all movies. It's not oversaturation of it's all geared towards children. You have a wide audience that you're targeting. Now you have every single audience to target. You have from all the stream services. Like there's people that could be like, okay, well, I just like Titans, for instance. They're just on HBO Max. Well, HBO Max
on Cartoon Network. Don't forget that.
Teen Titans Go doesn't count. No, don't ever disrespect Titans like that. I'm just saying. Plus, but Teen Titans Go is also on HBO Max.
HBO Max is very true.
But my point is that like they can stick to that and have the whole DC hub, while others can go, you know what?
Yeah, because it's all right there.
I don't like what Disney Plus is doing. I'm sticking with the Marvel content I like on Netflix. And they love the Defenders. You know what I mean? Like everyone has an outlet that they can choose.
Right. Okay.
Everyone now has an outlet for comics they can choose too, which is amazing because honestly, Boom's having a renaissance right now with their whole everything they're doing. It. And we're on the press list for it, but this is not even a joke. This has nothing to do with them and us being a part of them. As soon as we started reading everything they were putting out, we've been missing out. And I am beating myself up because of it.
Well, see, it's the thing of, like, okay, so going back to the oversaturation bit, what are the big 2, Marvel and DC, right? And you have the major superheroes with that. And then everybody else is fighting for 4th place because Image has number 3.
Exactly.
With Image, it's not necessarily a cohesive universe. It's just a bunch of random different stories, and then everybody else is fighting underneath. And I think you miss a lot as far as that goes with the oversaturation of the superhero books. As good as they are, as good as they can be, like stuff with IDW, what they were doing with G.I. Joe and Transformers before they're going to lose them next year.
We'll see how well that goes.
Right. Boom with Power Rangers and everything else that they're doing. Something is eating the children, and the house
something is killing the children
with that one too. And even Zenoscope, taking the fairy tale properties and things like that and turning them into whatever it is that they have turned them into. There's a market for everybody. But and that's the thing. Break through that barrier of Marvel and DC to find the rest.
Right. And there's even shows coming out based on these things. Who would have thought Invincible would have a cartoon ever?
I'd have never thought that
Who
would
have
happen.
thought, I don't know, 10 years ago that The Walking Dead could be a thing?
It was a thing for the first 5 seasons, and then it turned into crap.
Well, you know what I meant. Like, it was going to be an actual thing. Robert
Right.
Kirkman. But, everyone that was watching it was like, I love this show. I'm like, it was based on a comic, right? They're like,
dude,
no.
when The Walking Dead came out on television, we stopped everything we were doing on Sunday night to watch that show. That was it on Sunday. Phones were turned off and everything.
Yeah. So, and what I mean by like it's done correctly, it is the fact like now you have an outlet. Now everyone has their own piece. Everyone can take what they want and like it. You don't have to be wrong. You know what I mean? For liking something anymore. Me and you could sit here and you could be like, hey, everything that Disney Plus is doing right now is hitting on all cylinders. Hawkeye, Loki.
See, and I think that they are.
Yeah, you can sit there and say that, but I can still sit here and say, well, on HBO Max, I think that Titans is killing it. I think it's the new Batgirl is going to be amazing. Doom Patrol is out of this world. I don't know how you can compare. Both of us are right.
Exactly, and that's the most important thing is, like what you got your fanboys and stuff like that with Marvel and with DC and all that stuff, and you got people that stick specifically to one or the other. But like you just said, there's a market for everybody. And when I sit here and say that the Disney Plus shows in the MCU are knocking it out of the park, haven't seen a bad one yet. In the same breath, I can say I've watched one episode of Titans, and I haven't watched an episode of anything else as far as the DC shows go. But you can say that because that's what you've done, and I haven't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because some of us have to do research on this show.
I fly by the cuff and I research as we go along.
I know. And but so as far as oversaturation, like I said, it is key that we are in a time right now where it's oversaturated, but it is equally saturated for those who want it to be. And I think without using the word oversaturated, I think right now we're spoiled with it. And yes. I am in love with the fact that we were spoiled. You know what? I would have never thought in a million years I could sit here and say that I had the Arrowverse. No one would have known what the Arrowverse was.
And it's still going, even though the Arrow is finished.
He's
right?
off doing a wrestling show now.
Right. You've got Flash and you've got Legends of Tomorrow. You've got Supergirl and Stargirl.
No,
and
I think Supergirl's ended.
Is that done too?
Yeah, I think that's done. But no, you had Stargirl come in. You got Superman, Lois. Yeah. And then even like they had Batwoman, which we don't know and talk about really because Sonny was on it. Sonny,
our very own Sonny Kruger was a background character.
Quick plug, Sonny. For those who don't know, released his trailer for a series about a series. Go check that out on his channel.
It's absolutely amazing.
It's great, guys. So it's going to be released on 12/17/21. So
same day as Spider-Man.
Same day as Spider-Man, which is a bold move, SK. I'm just saying right now, I don't think the views are going to be there, buddy. But I hope for the best.
They will be after 7:00. When
after everyone's done spoiling, Spider-Man for us. But even like that, we just talked about it again on the show. Spider-Man, for instance, is coming out in 3 movies, and that's not including what he's going to be side character in.
No, he's got the 3 trilogies that are not. I can't even talk. He's got the 3 new movies that are coming out after this one, but like with the movies in saturation with that.
I didn't even hit the video game aspect, and I just stuck with the movies and TV. Video games can literally I'm back to playing. Guys, for those of you who don't know, we did kind of put Codex Gaming on the back burner, so we start this show, but I will still be streaming on Twitch. Guys, jump in with me. It's going to still be fun. I'm going to finish up Guardians. I'm going to play through. Now I can sit there and play for 3 hours and not have to cut an hour every time.
Yeah, that's very true.
But even with the video games, you're ushering in a whole new era of fans. Now you're opening up to Miles Morales. Now you're opening up to, Venom, who's coming out. Wolverine's getting a game. You have so much. DC, Suicide Squad's coming out, Gotham Knights. I can list so much that's coming out, even in the comic book world in the form of paper again. There's so much. And it's just we can't afford it all, but we pick and choose what we can afford. And we are spoiled on that aspect. 110%.
Now, see, I know people that are suffering currently from Marvel fatigue, or what they call it, where they're
Yeah,
just
because they're tired of freaking trying to pump it up and talk about it to others. You gotta understand. Have you seen Marvel? Like, no.
well,
Okay, I
I
get it.
mean, they're bombarded with the movies and the television shows and things like that, and they just kind of stopped after Endgame. They're like, I need a break. I get that, but I think that everything's kind of spaced out enough to where it doesn't overwhelm me, you know,
hmm
and I'm able to watch things at my pace and go to the theater 2 weeks after everybody has decided to destroy the theaters with seeing it on opening weekend and stuff like
Right.
that, so I can go and watch it when I want to watch it.
Exactly. I mean, like, and that's the thing. I feel like I said, getting back to our main topic here,
Mhm.
is that yes, to me, it's oversaturated, but it's oversaturated in the right way.
Right.
But we are spoiled with this oversaturation because this might be an era we will never see again.
Now,
Who knows in 10 years if we're ever going to see something like this happen. This has been the last 12, 13 years have been nothing
mhm.
but a ride. And it isn't, I can't even say a roller coaster because we've just been going uphill.
Mhm.
And once it stops and we go down, that's the ride.
Yeah. I mean, with Marvel, they got it right. They figured out the formula and they were able to put lightning in a bottle. And over the course of several movies, from Iron Man to Captain America, give every character their due on screen, with the exception of a few, like Hawkeye and Black Widow. And then the movie we never thought we would see, which is the Avengers, all of these people together in one movie, and it was absolutely mind-blowing. And then it
Exactly.
just continued, and the Infinity Saga going all the way up to Infinity War and Endgame. And even though we knew what was going to happen with Infinity War, we really didn't, because as far as reading the comic books go, what's going to happen in there, so the premise. But with the MCU, they've made it a point of using the comic books as inspiration, not foundation,
Right.
which I like too, because the MCU is its own universe now, and it's its own numbered universe in the grand scheme of things, and I dig that a lot.
Exactly. Which, before we end this, I do have a funny story for you about
Go for it.
Infinity War. So I was still living in Illinois at the time,
Mm.
and I was working with, for anybody who doesn't know, our friend Dave Marcusic does all the music for us. He also does the music for a series by series for Sonny, so go check that out and listen to it, so that way you guys give him some props. Go follow him at Sacred Python. But we were sitting in there, and he is such a Tom Holland fan. I hated the first movie. I hated it because of the fact that it was Batman and Robin with Iron Man and Spider-Man. And
You're not lying.
We can have a talk about that later on why I'm totally right and everyone's so wrong. The only good thing about the movie was Vulture. But so we got to that, and Infinity War was happening. Now, I did not go see it right away. Right? He did. And I'm one of those people, I'm used to spoilers. We live in a world of spoilers. If something pops up, I'm going to probably end up clicking it because it's going to bother me.
I threatened to never speak to certain people again if they spoiled Infinity War and Endgame when it came out, like hardcore. I don't mess around with spoilers.
Okay, so we're two ends of a totally different tree branch. I don't know what analogy I'm going with here, but we're different. So we're working, and he just comes up and he looks devastated. And I'm like, what's wrong? And he's like, I saw Infinity War, man. I'm like, okay, cool. And he's like, I gotta tell you what happened. I'm like, no, you don't. I'm like, why you look like you're about to cry? And he's like, Tom Holland died. And I was like, and I smiled, dude, like the biggest smile I could ever say. And I ran around the warehouse. Yeah. So I went and saw it, right? And the moment that I knew it was coming, as soon as it happened, there was kids there. They were having
I don't
fun.
feel so good, Mr. Stark.
There was parents that were enjoying the movie. Once that scene happened, I gave it a standing ovation.
You are horrible. You Yes, death
I
to
hope he
Spider-Man.
never
That's
comes back again. I was losing it, dude. I was like, this is the greatest movie ever. I still
You
watch it.
are a
It's
rotten
like,
human being.
dude, because everyone gave me crap about me hating on Homecoming so much. And as soon as he died, I was like, good for him. Hopefully he took that script with him.
Nope.
Yeah, no, it didn't happen. I was like, hopefully they
Oh
can
my
just erase
God.
it. Thanos was right. Now snap the movie out of existence.
Oh my God. Okay, Jamie. So I think it's safe to say that you say that saturation as far as comics in every medium it's oversaturated, but in a good way.
Yeah.
And I'm not necessarily all the way there yet, but I say it's kind of there, but not overwhelming. Is that fair enough?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
that's fair. I mean, we both kind of hit on the same points.
Yeah.
It's an understanding throughout everything, and that's what we get to on this. And to me, it's always going to be, where you draw your line. You could love everything or you could love one thing, and you are still right.
Very true.
So,
all right. So before we get out of here, Jamie, you want to go ahead and plug our socials real quick so people know where to find us when we're not on Twitch.
yeah, right here at twitch.tv/Codex Podcast is one. And then the rest is at the Codex Podcast. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Spotify, YouTube, and here, if you guys are watching right now, which I hope you do, so hit that subscribe button and
That's
comment,
right.
follow, like, subscribe, and if you're on YouTube, maybe hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the content we're putting out for you guys. Thank you. Bye. No.
Yeah, don't forget, guys, we got Decoding Panels episodes coming out for you on a weekly basis. We also have From the Vaults, more episodes of Breaking the Code come on a weekly basis also for you. And we might even do some more on Twitch here for you if this turns out to be something that you guys like. But yeah, beyond that, make sure to hit us up on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Spotify, YouTube, all that good stuff. Once again, this is Breaking the Code. I am Tim with Codex. That is Jamie with Codex. And we will see you next time.